I used to be one of those people who had the disease to please. I said yes many times when I knew I should have been saying no, and then I would be mad at myself for saying yes. When you say yes but actually mean no, people tend to follow the yes because they assume that you mean it. You may say yes to avoid upsetting the person, but in reality, you don't want to say yes. This can create confusion and lead to further problems later on. They keep coming back because nothing appears in your life that you didn't order. If it is there, it is because you needed to see it. So, how do you set boundaries for yourself? I realized that I could set my own boundaries and decide where I wanted to spend my money, time, and service. When I made those decisions, I felt empowered. Just because you receive 100 requests every week, it doesn't mean that you have to fulfill all of them. You have all these demands on your time, but it is up to you to decide. You are the master of your fate and you are the captain of your soul. Understanding this fact changed the meaning of my life. I was no longer driven by what other people wanted me to do, but took charge of my own destiny. I made choices based on what I felt was the next right move for me. Welcome to this week's episode of Micro Habits. I am Nitin. Weekly, we dip into one topic that can help you and your people get better and getting better. This week, we are discussing on how to set boundaries for yourself and learning to say no. As Steve Jobs said,
when you think about focusing, right, you think, well, focusing is saying yes. No. Focusing is about saying no. Focusing is about saying no. And you've got to say no, no, no.
Often we all desire to be liked, and that's quite natural. We want others to appreciate us. However, some people take this too far and end up saying yes to everything they are asked, which may not always be in their best interest. It may feel good to say yes to everything, but in reality, every time we say yes to something, we are also saying no to something else that we could be doing with our time. Some people worry about being selfish if they say no, but in fact, saying yes to everything is actually about our own desires to feel good or to be liked by others. This can be selfish in itself. Many people develop a habit of saying yes automatically without considering whether they actually want to do something or not. To counter this, a helpful trick is to have a standard response like, "Thank you for asking. I need to think about it and we'll get back to you soon." This gives you time to step back and evaluate whether you want to do something or not. Remember, it is okay to say no and you don't need to give an excuse. Sometimes it can be helpful to experiment with saying no to see how people react and realize that it's not always a big deal. With practice, it becomes easier to say no to a bigger request. Developing the habit of saying no is a powerful tool to regain time and simplify life. When we fail to say no, our time gets drained away gradually through various insignificant things such as internet distractions or focusing on things we never needed in the first place. We also tend to accept social obligations we don't even enjoy attending. So the question is, when should we say no? I have learned something from Greg which has helped me a lot. He says, if it isn't a hell yes, it's a no. There is no doubt that saying no is difficult, especially when we have a deep-rooted desire to be liked and don't want to let people down. We often feel guilty when we decline someone's request, but we must remember that denying the request is not the same as denying the person. We can still kindly and compassionately thank them for the thoughtful invitation and firmly say that it is just not possible this time. I'm not asking you to say no to everything or just for the sake of doing it. We are only saying no to the non-essentials to free up time and space so that we can say a big, wholehearted yes to the essential few. When we take the time to create mental breathing space and learn to say no, we open up room in our lives to focus on the things that are truly important and essential to us. Eliminating non-essential distractions allows us to better concentrate on what really matters. And this puts us on the right path towards living a simpler and more fulfilling life. Saying no to some things allowed me to say yes to many other things in the last couple of weeks, enabling me to focus on myself and enjoy what I love the most. Once again, I want to extend my gratitude to our friends at Sunsama for sponsoring today's video. I use Sunsama to help me stay calm and focused. Its guided daily planning feature allows me to be intentional with how I spend my time and plan my routine. Moreover, it helps me set realistic goals that help me understand when to say yes and when to say no. Check it out from the link below. The inspiration for today's video mainly comes from Greg's Essentialism. I learned so much from it. Greg shares a lot of tips on how to lead more intentional life. If you are like me, struggling to say no, he also has a lot of advice on how to say no graciously and empathetically. It's Nitin signing off, and we will see you in the next video.